It is now time for our featured speaker. Please join me in welcoming the mayor of the great city of Lexington for the 2016 State of the City Address, the Honorable Jim Gray.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Well, welcome everyone to 2016. What a time to be in Lexington. I want to thank the Lexington Forum for sponsoring this event every year. And welcome to our council members. Here they are right up front: Vice Mayor Steve Kay, at-large council members Kevin Stinnett and Richard Maloney, District Council members James Brown, Siobhan Akers, Jake Gibbs, Susan Lamb, Bill Farmer, Angela Evans, Jennifer Scutchfield, Fred Brown, Jennifer Masadi, Amanda Mays Bledsoe, and Russ Hensley. So let's ask them all to stand and let's give them a hearty round of applause. Thank you, guys. And welcome as well today to Senator Reggie Thomas and to former Governor Steve Beshear, who are both with us today. Welcome home, Governor. Thank you, sir. I'd especially like to welcome 4 middle school students who are here with the Kentucky Youth Leadership Program: Ethan Thomas, Ryland Wheeler, Kate Marie Powell, and Macy Brockman. These students will be traveling abroad for a leadership and civic involvement program, and they're standing, and let's welcome them with a round of applause. Thanks, guys. Thank you all. Well, this has happened. Page 2 has escaped us. All right. What I next want to do is important because we have heard that there is some weather approaching. And I want to ask Albert Miller, who is our superintendent for streets and roads, if he will tell us. Albert, tell us if things are going to be okay. Are things going to be okay? We are ready. There we go. You know, Lexington was settled in 1775, now almost 241 years ago, 1 year before the Declaration of Independence itself was signed. A few years later, Henry Clay was on the stage here in Lexington, and Clay defined Lexington in his vision. It wasn't just a hamlet or a city or a village or a town. It was a great American city. This long legacy, this long history is what brings us to today. It brings us to the 20th century when we had developments like the University of Kentucky Medical Center and IBM moving to Lexington. Today it brings us to every person in this room and every one of Lexington's 310,000 citizens. We are all part of the story and all part of this extraordinary place. It's a story of a great American city. And we've got quite a story to tell. The state of our city is this: we are firing on all cylinders. Unemployment is historically low. Lexington has 22,500 more people working today than were working here at the low point of the recession. And average pay per job is up 13.5%. Business starts are up as well. We are creating about a third in Lexington. We are creating about a third of the new businesses in Kentucky. Lexington's model is working. Lexington's model is working. We are an economic engine for the state. Home sales are up 22%, 2015 over 2014. Foreclosures are down 18%. 2015 was a record year for new commercial construction, up almost 20% over 2014. Our arts and culture sector is booming, and we know arts equal jobs. Lexington is growing. Investment is up. Over the past year, about $2 billion has been invested in commercial and residential real estate, healthcare and educational institutions, and infrastructure in our city. Now, of course, there's always some anxiety about growth, especially in a city that values its history so much and its countryside. But we are growing responsibly. We know it's essential to preserve those things that make Lexington special. And we also know that responsible growth, creating good jobs and opportunity, is essential to maintaining a vigorous, strong economy. Yes, we are firing on all cylinders. We're making investments in our community to improve quality of life, which in turn attracts new jobs and new economic growth, making new investments again possible. It's a continuing cycle that has brought economic opportunity and growth to our city. Lexington is making progress, but there is more to do. We have opportunities and challenges, and we are tackling them head on, working with citizens, with council members, community leaders, wrestling problems to the ground and finding lasting solutions. Now let's take a deeper dive, examining the three goals we've set for our city: creating jobs, running government efficiently, and building a great American city. These are the touchstone goals that guide us through shared decision-making when developing a budget, setting priorities, or planning for the future. So let's talk about the progress we've made together over the last year. And let's start with creating jobs. So why is creating jobs our number one priority? Well, outside of family and health, having a good job is about the most important thing in life. Everyone in the world wants a good job. Today, unemployment is historically low, 3.6%, reduced by more than half since 2011. We will keep working to attract good jobs to our city, working on job creation every day. We've established a jobs fund with incentives designed to give our community a leg up when competing with other cities. And it's working. Since 2014, 9 local companies have employed these incentives to expand. And the incentives have helped attract 3 new companies, one of them a UK graduate moving her headquarters to Lexington. These companies are bringing 223 jobs, $11 million in payroll, and an average of nearly $50,000 a job. We work closely with the state and with Commerce Lexington to attract new companies and to keep existing ones and help them grow. We're especially proud of a recent announcement by Clark Material Handling, used to be Clark Equipment. Clark is expanding its operations in Lexington with 30 good jobs and an almost $5 million investment to expand its facilities. Now, many of you know that Clark's headquarters have been in Lexington since 1985. Today, Clark is moving jobs from Mexico to Lexington. Let me repeat that. Let me repeat that. Clark is moving jobs from Mexico to Lexington. And today we want to welcome and congratulate Dennis Lawrence and Chuck Mix of Clark Material Handling. Dennis and Chuck, you guys are sending a clear message nationally and internationally that Lexington is a great place to locate and grow a business. Next, in terms of creating jobs, we recognize an important 21st century step for us to encourage economic growth is becoming a gigabit city. And we have a team actively working a broadband project. We're doing our homework, determining what kind of system will work here. So today, we are ready to ask companies to bid on providing our broadband service. And there's exciting news here. The state has offered to build fiber dedicated to the city at a very low cost to us. Yes, we are getting things done, creating the jobs our citizens need. Now, before we focus on running government efficiently, I want to mention the team that's responsible for making our government work day to day. And that's Chief Administrative Officer Sally Hamilton and her Deputy Chief Administrative Officer Glenn Brown. Their team works so remarkably well with both the Mayor's office and the Council. Sally, thank you. Now, running government efficiently. We've realized significant savings through the reform of employee health insurance. As this chart illustrates, these savings continue, now totaling $68 million. We have kept our employee health insurance expenses almost flat since the new program began in 2012, and in today's health insurance market, that's a real accomplishment. Now, of course, while ongoing cost savings and efficiencies are important, there are other real-world benefits that even are more important. The impact of these changes on the health of city employees and their families. The new health insurance plans emphasize primary care and prevention through our employee health clinic and pharmacy. Employees are rewarded to get checkups, to take their medications, and to get involved with their health to prevent serious illness. Over half of our employees and their families, 3,000 patients, use this clinic for their health care today. Since 2012, 45% of our health clinic patients have lost weight. 78% of diabetics are actively managing their disease, and 14% of smokers have quit, lowering health care costs for preventable conditions and improving employees' health. Like Michelle Hunt, who's here with us today. Michelle is the wife of John Hunt, one of our community corrections officers. Michelle is willingly with us today and proud. She is a patient at the clinic, and she's been making progress on weight management, on blood pressure, and her diabetes. Michelle, congratulations to you. Like health insurance reforms, cost savings are just one of the benefits of the changes made to our pension fund. The 2013 pension change, made with the cooperation and support of police officers and firefighters, is the most significant agreement in Lexington's history and is producing the results we sought. At a time when cities and states nationwide are struggling with underfunded pensions and rising costs, our pension is now 78% funded, ensuring the pension is secure for Lexington's police officers and firefighters for decades to come. And this slide illustrates, adding pension and health insurance savings together, we have saved $112 million to date because of these reforms. We're also saving money on our largest capital project, the overhaul of our sanitary sewer system that has been ordered by the courts. The 11-year implementation plan, which is being managed by our Director of Water Quality, Charlie Martin, is now focused on some of its most complex projects, building wet weather storage tanks. And this photo shows one of them. It's a tank that's imposing in size and scale. Through expert cost engineering, this tank at Town Branch is being built at a cost almost $60 million below the original estimate. And a second tank will be built near the Legacy Trail. Based on citizen feedback, we're planning to surround it with a place for cyclists and walkers to take a break. And we're on course to save $10 million when compared to original estimates. Now, these cost savings are commendable achievements by our city's engineers, consultants, contractors, and our city council. Our goal is to reduce the expense, but not the quality of these projects. It's the city's largest infrastructure program in its history. Now, continuing on our path toward running government efficiently, our recent decision to hire Waste Services of the Bluegrass will save us $4 million over the first 5 years of the contract. In addition, we will be contributing to and sharing in the proceeds of the company's methane gas collection project. The gas produced in landfills is converted into electricity and will be used by the Toyota plant in Georgetown. Two of the company's leaders, Greg Elkins and Drew Skaggs, are with us here today. Greg and Drew, thank you. Thanks, guys. Saving money is important, but running government efficiently means more than just saving money. It also means making government run better, like the work we've been doing through the Vacant Property Review Commission, designed to address vacant and blighted properties, to improve neighborhoods and family life. In its first year of operation, the Commission took on and improved 229 neglected properties, many of which had languished in neighborhoods for years. Running government efficiently also means making it accountable and transparent. Just like any home or business, the city has to keep an eye on its checkbook. Citizens should be able to see the City Hall checkbook. That's why we are releasing our purchase orders and employee salaries on our website. We're starting with $110 million in purchase orders for fiscal 2016. That's more than 8,000 purchase orders, ranging from a $1.94 tape dispenser to a $9.7 million construction contract. We will continue to actively share data throughout the year. As we become more transparent through technology, we must also take steps to protect our technology infrastructure and our data through investments in hardware and software and continuous monitoring. Cybersecurity is a real concern for governments, businesses, and families across America. We have been putting together safeguards and raising awareness throughout the region. Now, as this next chart shows, we have been getting things done by turning deficits into surpluses totaling almost $60 million. The efficiencies that I've already discussed and job creation are allowing us to make investments that are improving our quality of life. We have more than doubled our rainy day fund since we started in 2011. It now stands at $32.2 million, and we will soon be at our goal of 10% of our general fund revenue. And I want to especially thank the council for their work in this. Thank you, guys. Let me talk now about some of the investments that are building our great city. Any discussion of investments in our city has to start with public safety, our top priority, 54% of our budget this year. Since 2011, we've invested almost $1.5 billion in public safety, a 22% increase in 5 years. That means new police officers and firefighters and new equipment. First, a couple of highlights. Earlier this month, fire joined police on our new radio system. Fire and police can now communicate seamlessly, better than ever before. The new system also reaches into remote corners of our county. It's a big, big step forward. Last week, the police department invited bids to provide body cameras for our officers. Here's Officer, actually soon-to-be Sergeant, Jervis Middleton, and on his shoulder is one of several cameras police have been testing over the past few months. Police Chief Mark Barnard, who's with us today, has worked with our Chief Information Officer, Aldona Valicenti, to find the kind of system that will best meet our needs. And we expect cameras to be in use by late summer. Now, finally, under public safety, we have been working with Chief Barnard on a new initiative, establishing a safety action team to include public safety and community representatives, especially youth organizations, the faith community, civil rights organizations, and business groups. The goal is to make our city safer, involving everything from classic law enforcement activities to summer programs for at-risk youth. We are expecting this group to take a hard look at our public safety efforts and find new approaches and solutions. In addition, we expect to identify gaps where we need to step up with new services. For example, we've expanded our already successful domestic violence prevention program by making the coordinator position full-time. And we have established the Substance Abuse and Violence Intervention Office, which is working with both police and fire to combat the deadly heroin epidemic, as well as other substance abuse issues. Now, we all know there is more work to do to really get at the roots of violence, to solve problems before they become problems, to ensure all of our children have the opportunity to grow up, to get a good education and a good job. There's more work to do, and we are doing it. As for other significant investments to build our city, work gets underway this summer to save the historic Fayette County Courthouse, one of Kentucky's most important public buildings and our community's front door. We are investing to make sure it will be around for future generations. And importantly, we have approached the project as a public-private partnership, leveraging private investment instead of taking the government go-it-alone route. Across Upper Street from the historic courthouse is the 21C Museum Hotel, which will open early this year. Here's a preview of a couple of its rooms. The private investment and economic activities surrounding the Fifth Third Pavilion and the historic courthouse is spreading along up Short Street to Upper Street and beyond, and influencing redevelopment all along North Limestone and Jefferson. A few blocks away, plans for Town Branch Commons are shaping up. This strip of the Bluegrass, a park running through downtown along the path of our city's first water source, will be a game changer for generations to come. It will be a walking, jogging, and cycling trail, closing the gap between two of our major trails, the Legacy Trail and the Town Branch Trail, and creating 22 miles of uninterrupted trail. It will be a path to private investment and economic development. It will be a link between our beautiful countryside and our urban core. It will be another public-private partnership where we will leverage private dollars to build and maintain one of the city's most significant civic projects. And we will appoint the Town Branch Task Force to bridge the gap between public infrastructure and private investment, creating a conservancy to ensure the park is properly maintained. Town Branch Commons has the potential to be a centerpiece of our community for decades. Now, for those who think there may have been too much focus on the downtown, we ran the numbers. In capital investments, it's 22% in our central business district, that is the downtown, and 78% in the suburbs and rural areas. For example, we're investing in parks all over the city. In 2015, that meant almost $2 million in construction projects like the popular pickleball courts at Kirk Levington or dugouts at Constitution and Southland. And we're making plans for the future, examining our aquatic needs and developing a master plan for parks because great cities have great parks. Another investment is our new Senior Citizens Center. Will be opening this summer. Now, these pictures were taken from a recent tour by the council members. The city's current seniors facility is out of date, out of space, and out of step with today's seniors. The new center has more space and is surrounded by improvements in Idle Hour Park. And another win for the city, we will soon open our Public Safety Operations Center. With community emergencies striking cities across the country, we need a state-of-the-art center. When I came to office, we found the original plan for the center was just too expensive. But by reusing an existing city-owned building, rather than buying a new site and building new from scratch, we were able to save $28 million. Street paving, important to every citizen. It's a basic that's always important. We're investing another $12.5 million this year. So far, we have paved 31 miles of city streets, and paving will resume in the spring. And we've continued to improve our decision-making, Using a first-ever high-technology assessment of road conditions, our council members are able to better set their paving priorities. As social service funding from Washington and Frankfort has declined, we stepped up at the local level and made new investments to help citizens in need. Since 2012, Lexington has doubled funding for social service agencies that reach out to people who need the basics: food, shelter, and health services. Our Office of Homelessness, working in partnership with many local agencies, is making clear progress. I'm very proud that we have started a Housing First project that has moved 23 of Lexington's most chronically homeless citizens off the streets. The new Fayette County Mental Health Court has enrolled 21 people in 8 months, diverting them from our jails and hospitals into housing and programs that provided needed treatment. And importantly, since we pledged in 2014 to end veteran homelessness, we have moved 420 homeless veterans to permanent housing and built a system where veterans have direct access to permanent housing and opportunities to rebuild their lives. Our Affordable Housing Trust Fund is also making solid progress. With a $15 million investment of city funds and leveraged private dollars, we now have 426 new or rehabilitated affordable apartments and homes. Now let me discuss a final and important investment in our future: the Lexington Convention Center. The convention facility we are in right here today was originally built 40 years ago. Since that time, the addition of new exhibit space, meeting rooms, and the Bluegrass Ballroom were completed. But the demand for a much larger, contiguous convention space has remained. In the last 30 years, three independent consultants recommended that the center be expanded to allow us to capture the business we're missing today. It's time we invest in this important economic engine once again. And what will this project produce? Every year, 33 new bookings, almost $30 million in new economic input every year. It means more people will have jobs as a result of this investment, new jobs for our region and revenue for our businesses. Now, on the other hand, if we do nothing, no new economic activity will take place. Actually, industry experts predict that event clients that we currently have will be lost. That means less money being spent in our city and less money being earned. Our City Council has unanimously endorsed this expansion, as have the boards of Commerce Lexington, Visit Lex, the Bluegrass Hospitality Association, the Downtown Lexington Corporation, the Downtown Development Corporation, and the Lexington Center Corporation. And we have asked the state to partner in this project. Everyone in this room remembers the tough economic times we've been through. It was painful. And we know the state continues to face some serious financial commitments. So we ask state leaders to keep an eye to the future by making infrastructure investments that are critical to business and quality of life. The expansion and modernization of Central Kentucky's premier meeting and convention destination is one of the most significant economic development opportunities at Kentucky's fingertips today. The time is now. Now, in closing, I want to remind all of you of the pride we all felt in our city during the Breeders' Cup last fall. Thanks to hundreds of city volunteers, businessmen and women, Keeneland and representatives of our horse industry, our time in the international spotlight was an unqualified success. Now, some of you will remember what the publisher of the Thoroughbred Daily News said after expressing his concerns that Lexington was just too small to handle the Breeders' Cup. It was after the Breeders' Cup, and it was Barry Weisbord, the publisher of the Thoroughbred Daily News. He actually had to eat a little crow. He said, "I was wrong." It was spectacular. One of the secrets of Lexington's success is that we are proud of our city, and not just during the Breeders' Cup or March Madness. We're proud of our city every day, and because of that pride, we're all willing to work hard every day to make Lexington the very best it can be. If there's a problem, and all cities have problems, but if there's a problem in Lexington, we pull together and we solve it. Yes, we call ourselves the horse capital of the world, and that's certainly true. But we could also call ourselves the city where we take on the tough problems, the getting things done capital of the world. So to all of you, I want to thank each and every one of you for all that you do for our city. And thank you for being with us today. Thank you all.